If you are conditioned to think like a slave, even if you are free, you still think and behave like a slave. Let me say it again. I don't care which country you are coming from. I don't care the race you belong to. If you are conditioned to think in a certain way, even if you are free, you still think and behave like that. So really, in life, our real challenge is how can we unlearn, relearn, and become a better person? There were some scientists who wanted to experiment the power of conditioning. So they brought a very hungry dog. They tied the dog and they served that dog fresh meat. But they served the fresh meat such that anytime the dog tried to reach the fresh meat, the chain will pull the dog back so that the dog could not reach the fresh meat. Now the dog is hungry. He desires fresh meat, but the distance between him and the fresh meat, the chain will keep on pulling him back. So the first day they served this dog the fresh meat. The dog was hungry, so he rushed to go grab the fresh meat, but the chain will pull it back. The second day, they do the same thing. The third day, they serve it the fresh meat. I was hungry, the dog tried to reach it, the chain will yank it back again. They do that consistently. Now, the more the energy, the effort the dog put in trying to reach the meat, the more painful it becomes. So let's say he put in more effort to reach the fresh meat. When the chain pull it back, the pain is so huge. They do that several attempts. They get to a point now when they serve the fresh meat to the dog will just sit and look at it. They'll push the meat closer, the dog will back away. The next day, they remove the chain. They served the dog the fresh meat. The dog was hungry, but because of his previous experiences, it's all failure. He just stopped and looked at the fresh meat. They pushed the meat closer. The dog backed away. So the conclusion of the experiment is that if you are conditioned to think like a slave, even if you are free, you'll still think and behave like a slave. Conditioning is powerful. There are a lot of lessons to learn from this story. But before then, there was a man that inspired me. He's called Dr. Carter Godwin Woodson. He's an American historian. He's an author. He was a journalist. He was one of the few scholars that studied Black African in the United States. This is what he has to say about conditioning. If you can determine what a man shall think, you will never have to concern yourself with what he will do. If you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek for an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to the back door. He will go himself. And if there's no back door, his very nature will demand one. Wow. If you can determine what a man shall think, you will never have to concern yourself with what he will do. If you can make a man feel inferior, less of himself, you will never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. In fact, when I was teaching at the senior high, some group of students visited me. I gave them a nice chair to sit on it. Trust me, these students, because of how they were conditioned, they refused to sit on that nice chair. They sat on the floor. They see sitting on that nice chair to be luxury. They feel like they are not worth sitting on that type of chair. They don't see the self-image about themselves. They've been conditioned to think they don't even deserve to sit on a nice chair. Another group of students visited me. If my wife will remember, she served them water in a very nice cup. I was amazed. They refused to take that water from that cup. They went out. There's a barrel. Usually when it rains, water go inside. And there was a certain cup, a rubber cup. That was the water they fetched to drink. And when I completed college, I was sent to village as a starter to teach. And that was the poor self-image this kid had. I was asking myself, how can I let these people have a better self-image about themselves? You know, as young people, when you are born, whether you are from India, whether you are from Canada, USA, Liberia, Nigeria, Ghana, as a young boy, when you are born, as a child, young girl, when you are born, your brain really, there's not so much in it. But as you are growing up, you start to see things, you start to hear things, you start to experience things. These things condition you to think in a certain way, to behave in a certain way. That is why it's important when you grow to a particular age, you have to take total responsibility to educate your ignorance. You have to take total responsibility to work on your negative patterns, your negative self-worth, your negative self-esteem. You have to listen to people that can educate you, that can create your awareness. But it's funny, you see these people, they are conditioned negatively, and what they are watching Nigerian movies, they are watching Indian movies, they are watching love movies. You are ignorant, you are suffering, you are poor, nothing works for you, and you still have the time to watch entertainment. So you and I, we all have 24 hours. As I'm reading to educate my ignorance, you are watching Nigerian movie. At the end of watching the Nigerian movie, what lesson do you get? Don't trust your husband. Don't trust your wife. In fact, don't trust people. People are wicked. How can you live in a society you don't trust people? So you have 24 hours. I have 24 hours. What are you doing with your 24 hours? While I'm attending coaching and mentorship, you are watching comedy, laughing. Those things are not bad, but you can't watch them when you are suffering. Then you not get that energy to do what is best for you. So there are actually few lessons I learned from all what I just told you. The first one is conditioning is our real enemy. Everybody must know the power of conditioning, and your conditioning is your real enemy. Nobody can stop you but you. That your conditioning, that negative self-talk, some people are conditioned right. They are fortunate, the family they come from. But when you are from broken home, when you are from a negative circumstance, when you are from abusive home, when you are from a single parenthood, when you are from a place you don't feel loved, you don't feel valued, you don't feel cared for, when you are from a family you are only loved based on performance, not because of who you are, you always feel like you are not enough. With that self-esteem, with that self-worth, you can't go anywhere. You settle in relationship, you settle with business and finance, you settle in friendship, you settle in life. And instead of you to educate yourself, to improve your self-image of yourself, you only watch entertainment stuff. You just want to entertain yourself in that suffering. And trust me, you can never grow in that circumstance. So the first thing, your real enemy is your negative pattern, is your conditioning. If you are conditioned to think that way, if you don't change that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Secondly, stand guard what you put in your mind. Be very careful with what you expose your mind to, because you become what you continuously feed in your mind. When they say somebody is a lawyer, that means he studied law. He exposed law information in his mind, so he becomes it. That's why the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he. Whatever occupied there, you become that. When they say somebody is a medical doctor, all what it means is that he studied medicine. When they say somebody is an engineer, it means that he studied engineer. When somebody is a nurse, he went to college and studied nursing. When somebody is a professional teacher, he went to college, teaching college, and studied that. A police officer, he went to college and studied that. An army, he went to college and received those training. Any orientation you receive in your mind, you become it. Basketball player, he studied that in his orientation. That's why he becomes that. Find what you want to become and feed your mind with it. If you wish to become something but you don't feed your mind with that, that's a wishful thinking. You are not serious. Really, you are not serious. So stand guard your mind. What are you feeding in your mind? I wake up, I read books. I listen to coaching and mentorship. These are things that takes my time. When they say somebody is a politician, he exposes his mind to politics, then he becomes that. When somebody is a footballer, he exposes his mind. Whatever you expose your mind to, that is what you become. Oh, me, whatever I expose my mind, I will never become that. You are a liar. If you continuously watching movies whereby they are doing certain things in your relationship, you start applying them. You start thinking like that. Whatever you expose your mind to, you become it. So from these two stories, from these two experiments, the power of conditioning, the dog and the fresh meat, and the what Woodson Carson said, stand guard your mind. The third one is, be careful with the people you associate with. When you are with people, when they identify your need, but they won't give it to you. They are like, they will give it to you. They are waiting for you to perform for them. They don't give it to you because of who you are. They are conditioning you to think a certain way. You become a people pleaser, because you now learn that in order for me to get something, I need to please. People pleasing is exhausting. So be careful with people you associate with. Who are you associate with? Do they know what you want, and then they will hold it? When you are about to leave, then they will release more for you. Then they will hold it again. They are conditioning you to think less of yourself. You start thinking like you don't deserve anything. Be very careful with the people you associate with. And the last one is, we must be conscious and careful with the way we train our children. You see that young student that came to me, I offered them a chair, they sat on the floor. I offered them a drink, water in a nice cup. They went out because they are conditioned to think like that. So their whole decisions in life will always be less. I know women, it doesn't matter what shop they go straight to the clearance, because they don't deserve any, they don't feel they deserve something. It's a self-worth issue. I know women who are so used to abusive, they are familiar with abusive relationship to a point that when they get a man who truly loves them calmly, that's a problem. I know men who have experienced exhausting, people-pleasing, performance, abusiveness. When they get a woman who loves them to calm them, it torments them. They will never believe you. They feel one day you will tend to be something. They will frustrate you till you leave, because it's familiar. Look, the real enemy is our conditioning. If you are conditioned to think in a certain way, even if you are free, you still think and behave like that. I wish you guys all the best. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.